we're going to learn how to take your simple designs and turn them into fabulous interactive prototypes using Figma Make. Let's jump in. In the file that you'll find in the description, you have these 3 screens that are kind of ready for you to use. They are of a simple e-com shoe application of sorts, and we're going to put them into Make. But before we do that, we have to follow some best practices on how to set up us for Figma Make success. Step number 1, clean your files. In general, just clean them, but for this especially. So we're going to go through and make sure that if there's any hidden layers that we're not actually using, take those out, add in auto layouts, sort the names, all of that. So for example, in here, I'm just looking through and I can see there's this suggested layer, kill that. I'm gonna look at these cards. I see that this first one is an auto layout, the rest are not. Weird, but what I can do, and they are not in an auto layout grid even. So I'll select all of them and then I'll just Shift and A to put them into a grid. Then I'll select each of these cards and then I'm going to use Figma's suggest auto layout. So if I right click more layout options, suggest auto layout, it's just gonna build that into an auto layout for me. I can also just use the shortcut, which is Command Shift and A. There we go. Great, so now it's a bit more ready for that dynamic situation that's going on. I can see that most of my design has good naming conventions, but what I like to do is just select everything, go into my actions menu and just rename layers. It's going to look at all of the layers inside and only rename the ones that don't really have any context to them. It will skip the ones that are already named properly. I'm sure there's more that we can do here, but I feel like that's enough for now in terms of our step 1, which was organizing and cleaning our file. Step number 2 is we're going to jump into Figma Make. So I'll go into my Figma here, file, new, make. You can add a new make file in multiple different ways, but ta-da, we've got our file. Now, the way this works is you can start from an example or a template if you have those shared in your library, or you can just start writing into here. Because we want to bring specific designs to life, we actually are going to copy those into here. So I'll go back into our Figma design file, and I'm going to start with this middle page actually. So I'm going to copy that, Command C, and then in Figma Make, Command V. So you see it's already pasted in there, and it is pasting it as a Figma design element. It's not making it into an image or anything like that. And now I'm going to select which model I want to use. You can see that there's a default recommended, which to be honest is what I use unless I know really specifically that I'm looking for something. Claude Opus 4.6 is very, very, very good, but it uses more credits, and now we live in a credit world, so make sure that you're making good choices with your credits. But if you know you want any of these specific ones, go for them. I'm just gonna go for recommended for now. Next, we're going to need to write a prompt. Now, for this, we really need to hone our skills on prompting. We know this. It's annoying, but we need to learn how to do this properly. But I would say if you just use a prompt like make this interactive, you're not going to get what you want and you're going to be wasting those credits. So make sure that you actually take time to think about this. What I like to do sometimes is actually paste my design into another AI that doesn't take up credits, just like an LLM, and ask it, how should I prompt Figma Make? They all are aware of each other as well, so if you tell it Figma Make, it does actually know what that means. I'm going to use a basic structure from my prompt, which is you give it context, then you talk about the layout, and then you ask what you want. So context, build this new in search results page that is part of the Sunshine Shoes mobile app. Context. Now the layout. It should be fit for a mobile screen. Scroll vertically. I always need to do that to remind myself which one's horizontal and which one's vertical. The bottom navigation should stay fixed at the bottom of the screen. Always make this interactive, but do not link out to other pages yet. Moment of truth. So now it's going to start working on that. Little point to be aware of, Figma Make is slow. It's good, but it is slow, and we love it for it. But just know that it's going to take time. Great, so it's created it for us. It took about a minute and a half, about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. And we have our search results page, which is amazing. Just to let you know, if you're not seeing a mobile view or anything like that, if you did put mobile in the prompt, it should know to do that. But if you're not, know that here at the top, if you click on that, you'll get a drop down, then you can select what kind of view we're in. But look at that. It is the design that we made, which is what we were expecting. I know this can seem a bit anticlimactic at the start, but here it is. Now, if we look at these, we can scroll. Yeah, we can. Amazing. One thing that I did notice, I am using a mouse and I cannot click and drag. I can only use the wheel to scroll. And if I'm on my trackpad, I can use 2 fingers. So just be aware of that. So it's here, it's working. Now, we did ask it to make it interactive, but we said don't lead to other pages yet. So you can see I can click on this sort, for example, and this happens. Click on that happens. Great. Now let's bring in another design. And this is really important with Figma Make. We want to work incrementally. You do not want to dump all of the designs at once because it's going to be hard for it to do. So next page I'm going to want to add is this home page and link between them. Now, just a little side note, you might notice this beautiful scallop print on my top 2 cards, and it's here for you so you can use it as well as you wish. Now, this is a bit of a tangent, but I've recently noticed that my designs are getting a bit boring and I wanted to upskill myself on some fun Procreate things. So I ended up taking this class on Skillshare called Patterns in Procreate, Create a Seamless Scallop Pattern on Your iPad by the wonderful Chelsea Joy. But I learned so many cool functions on Procreate that I didn't even know existed. And then I had some fun things to bring into my designs. I kind of, like I said, I feel like my designs have been getting a bit stale. So I wanted just to add a touch of texture and some magic into them. If you don't know about Skillshare, it's an amazing platform that has probably thousands of courses on it in everything you can imagine. From film editing to design to AI tools to creative thinking, productivity, anything like that. It is really an amazing space. And what I really love about it is it's kind of a community as well. When you do the classes, you get a project to work on at the same time and you're encouraged to upload what you made. And then you can have a look at what other people have created while taking this class. And it's really inspiring. I really love it. Skillshare are very kindly sponsoring this video, and they've given me this super special QR code and link in the description. The first 500 people to sign up using this code or this link will get a free month on Skillshare. Now, let's bring our second page in. I'm going to copy it, Command C, back into Figma Make, and we have this chat on the side that will always be there. Command V just to paste that in. And now we need our second prompt. So let's explain again what this page is. Don't come for me. I know there's no hover animations in an app, but we just want to see what it can do. By the magic of editing, it's now done it. So you can see it's created this page. Where are my pretty scallop prints? That's annoying, but it's done it, yeah? So we can see that we have the hover effect. When I click on new in, it sends us to this page. It didn't do the animation that I asked it to, but we can go and tweak that in a moment. And can we go back? Yes, we can. Great. So we've looked at how we can use prompts to edit our design, but that's not the only way. And especially in this world of credits, we need to be a bit smarter about how we tweak our designs. What we can do here in the prompt section, you've got this tool, which is point and edit. If you click on it, now when you're hovering over your design, you're not only interacting with it, but you can also tweak things. So for example, so let's say I want to change something in the text here. I want it to be a different color. I'll click on it and I get this panel that comes up. Kind of reminds me of the panel we see in Figma Buzz. So you can change, let's say this needs to be like a dark purple, and you can also change the font if you want. Now you'll notice that it is changing all of them because they are connected to a CSS class. Fine for now. We're just learning as we go. Now what you can also do is you can point at something and have it send you to that element's code. I'm going to point and edit again, and I'll select this card, and you'll notice it has a purple line around it, and it over here we can see that it's an instance, so it's created a component called card, even though I didn't have it before. And what I can do is I can tweak the padding of it, change the rounded corners, or I can delete it as well if I want, or I can go straight to the code. So if I go to the source, I'll see here, this is this card. Yeah, your top picks, the card, it has a gradient from this color to this color. This is the title, your top picks. So let's say I don't want this card to be 50% off. I want it to be 25% off. Now when I go back into my design, you've got the toggle here between code and preview. You'll see that it says 25. Yeah, so we don't have to only use prompting in order to make changes. You can also just point to something and then edit it either on the canvas or go into the code. And you'll see it's kind of tallying up here everything I did, and I do need to click save to make sure that is saved. Just to show you one more thing with the point and edit, I can also select a specific thing and then change it using a prompt. Now it's editing just that specific element with a prompt rather than editing the whole page. So let's say I want this is an image of a specific trainer. Change this to be an image of a shoe. And then it's going to run through that and make that change for me. So it did it. Didn't do it well, but is what it is. Yeah, that's AI for you. My prompt probably wasn't very good. I should have said it's a product page and all of that and explained exactly what I wanted, but for now I think it's fine. Now we kind of looked at the code, but I want us to look at it in a bit more detail now. If we toggle here between view and code, please don't get freaked out by this if you don't know how to code or anything like that. You don't need to. Figma Make does it all for you, but it is good to get familiar with this structure because we're going to be using it more and more, or going to need to be looking at it more and more when it comes to all of these fancy AI generation tools nowadays. And we saw that it's not that scary, right? If I go back to design, click on my point and edit, and then let's say, actually, let's go into this page, point and edit on this, for example, and then go into my code. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. You've got the product price, and then you've got a wish list button. If it's active, is wish listed, on click, on wish list toggle. Let's actually see what this does. Yeah, so you see it gives it a cool little animation, which is great. So back to the code. You'll see on the left that you've got the filing structure, which is essentially how a kind of React code project is set up. And you'll see like in here there's styles. So if I go into theme, I have all of these tokens basically set up. So it's just listing out the colors that it's using. Then you've also got this Tailwind CSS. Now this kind of alerts us to the fact that it's using Tailwind. Tailwind is essentially like a UI library online that you can use. Please correct me if I'm wrong or using wrong terminology, but that's the one it's using. So if it needs to create new components, it can base them off of that. And we can see that in here under components, you've got Figma and UI. So in UI, you'll have all of these things, buttons, calendars. We didn't set this up, yeah, but it exists. So it can pull from those if it needs them. Now, the one thing that I do really want you to be aware of and to start editing and adding information into is the guidelines markdown. So at the top, you'll have guidelines and then guideline markdown. Right now, it will just have a bunch of grayed out information so it's giving you sort of like a placeholder. Anything that's inside of this syntax, so in a bracket, then an exclamation mark, dash, dash, you'll see that at the top and at the bottom. That means that it's inside of a comment. It's kind of commented out, so it's gray, which means it's not going to read it. So, and you can see that that's black and that's gray. It's reading that, it's not reading that. Now, what even is a markdown file? It is essentially a simple language file that you can just type plain English into, and the AI is going to read it and learn from it about guidelines for the whole project that it's working on. So in a situation like this, I would really recommend adding one or two things into your guideline markdown always. So for example, I'm going to add in something. So all of these little things to tell it what it should know about your designs, because we might be asking it to create more pages. We're not just going to ask it to create the designs that we've already made. Now with Figma Make, up till now, we've just been giving it designs that are already pretty full and then asking it to remake them in React and make them interactive. But we can also ask Figma Make to create completely new pages that kind of go with this theme. We can just ask it to do that, or we can give it a library to work with as well. So let me show you how to connect your design systems and component libraries into Figma Make. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to publish this design system that I have already available. Now, the way to do this is to almost publish twice. So I'll go into my assets, into the book, and then publish, just how we know how to publish a normal library. Then once it's done publishing it as a normal Figma design library, we're going to publish it again, almost, I think they call it export rather than publish, as a Figma Make library. So it's finished that. I'm going to go into the same place again, click on here, and then click on publish. Then at the bottom, you can see here, export to Figma Make. This will not be enabled until you normal publish first. So let's export this to Figma Make. This can take some time in general. Publishing, exporting libraries, depending on how big they are, can take a minute. So just remember that. Like I said, it takes a while and it was taking too long to extract that library. But just to show you, once you have exported your library, in the chat section here, you can go to this book and then you can select the libraries you've already exported into Figma Make. So for example, I can use this one. Now it's going to ask me, because we already have some designs in here, do you want me to rewrite those styles? and change the project to be using these components. And I kind of don't have another option, so I'll say, yeah, go ahead, do that. And then I'm going to save it so that you remember that CSS, that theme CSS that we saw before, is going to update it to match this library rather than the library that it sort of invented before. It shouldn't really change the designs too much in this case, but it might do if it's something completely radically different, so just bear that in mind. Got away on my own and added some more things into this design, some more interactions, just to show you what Figma Make could be capable of for your designs as well. Now comes the big question, what now? We've created all of these amazing things. You might have spent hours on Figma Make, tweaking, editing, adding in more interactions, more pages, more designs. What can you do with this now? Figma Make is web. So what you can do is you can publish it just like you can a Figma site, and it will be a website with a URL. You can password protect it. You can connect it to your own domain or anything like that if you want to, and then you can share it. It's interactive. People can open it on their phones, on their laptops, interact, do everything that you did while you were building it. Or you can bring it back into Figma Design. So over here in the top right, you have this copy design button. If you click on it, it's going to copy this design to the clipboard. And then if I go back into here, right click, paste it here. Now, obviously, because this was a bit of a, I took the design into Figma Make and I'm taking Figma Make back out into Figma, it's going to be a bit redundant. But in a world where we've already created multiple new screens, this could be really, really useful for us to be able to copy that back into Figma so we can continue to work on it in the design space rather than in this coding prompting environment. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed whistle-stop tour of Figma Make. Now go forth and create incredible things with it. It's a very powerful tool and it's constantly being added into and being made better. So it just gets better from here. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment below, let me know what other videos you'd like to see. I'm going to get into a bit of a series of AI stuff now, so stay tuned, or if you don't want to learn about AI, I'm really sorry. But promise to still keep doing just the basic Figma tutorials as well. And that's that. See you at the next one.